Hey everybody, and welcome to another tutorial brought to you by the Minecrafters. I'm Captain Jack, and in this episode we are going to be covering Applied Energistics, the newest version, the Changelog, and also wireless Emme, the quantum field ring. So strap in and let's go. Alright, the version of AE that we are going to be discussing is version V13.C, and that was released on September 28, 2013. There's a lot of different things that have been changed in this version since you saw our first 4 tutorial videos, so we're going to try to cover them as best and efficiently as possible. Okay, the nether quartz ore is a new ore that's been added in by AE, and you'll find that in the nether, and from that you'll be able to get nether quartz, and from that you'll be able to pulverize into nether quartz dust. Furthermore, Certus quartz is the old quartz, and that's been renamed to Certus quartz, and then you can macerate that into Certus quartz dust, and from that you can make Fluix dust. Let's check out these recipes really quickly. Fluix dust got lost somewhere, we'll see that in a minute. Fluix pearl, there we go. That's made by some Fluix crystals and an ender pearl. The Fluix dust is made by nether quartz dust and Certus quartz dust. The energy cell has been added in, and that's for the higher tier stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit later. These have been renamed. Nether quartz dust there, and they've also added ender pearl dust, not to be confused with the other, I think, 2 or 3 kinds of ender pearl dust that may exist in your game. Okay, so that's some of the new stuff that's been added. The default Emme cable looks a little bit different now. It looks like a little bit purplish, almost like the old colored cable looked. You're going to have to surround wool or a pipe, or whatever these things are, Emme cable in wool to achieve the look that you once had. If I go ahead and click that, there you go, wool, it'll give you covered cable. That's what it's called now, okay? Aside from a bunch of recipe changes, including the controller, which will now require nether quartz dust, and this is a huge pain to get and will be your nemesis throughout your endeavors with Applied Energistics, comes the import and export buses. Now this has changed a lot since the first version. We have basic import buses and basic export buses now. And the basic export bus is only going to have one option there. You're only going to only be able to put one item. It doesn't allow you to export stacks or configure anything else inside of here, so it's very basic as the name implies. The import bus you cannot even click on, and these will just suck in or push out items one at a time. Now, if you take one of these 2 buses and put it next to a processor, basic processor assembly, you are going to get precision import and export buses. And the same thing is if you take an Emme storage bus and put an advanced processor next to it, you'll get these fuzzy ones here, and likewise with the other 2. So advanced processors are used for these. Basic processors are used for the precision buses. And these are basically no different. They were your default export and import buses that you were familiar with, and this one's no different as well. One thing you are going to notice here, these things are basically import, export, bidirectional extract, self-explanatory. What may not be self-explanatory is this button right here, and that's the Emme storage priority. Let me just finish these buses and we'll take a look at what that means in just one second. Now the fuzzy import and export buses basically will care less than the precision about what goes in and what goes through them. And we have a little button here that will change through a bunch of different options. The first one is split at 99%, split at 75, split at 50, 25, and finally it will match any. So this is the most picky, 99%, and match any is the least picky. So it will just act basically like a precision bus at this point. Okay. The Emme fuzzy storage bus also has a fuzzy comparison option here, as well as the same thing we just saw in the regular storage bus, and that's no different. Let's take a look at this storage bus and this priority setting. I'm going to go ahead and grab some dirt, and we're going to look at these. They both have dirt in them, but one has more than the other. And if we take a look at this, I have this the storage priority of 1, and I have this as a storage priority of 512, which it doesn't need to be that high, but that's just what I have it set at. So when I go ahead and put dirt inside of here, let's take half a stack, you see that it fills up inside this one, and that's because the priority is greater than the one next to it. You can go into negatives, okay, I'm going to up the priority of this one. I'm going to put some more dirt inside the system, and it's going to put the dirt in this one, okay? Really good demonstration of how the prioritization works, okay? And with the fuzzy storage bus, this is a great thing to put on your indexer for your bees. So you can tell it to store a bunch of bees and have them always go into your indexer by jacking this thing up to an extreme height. You can go up to like 4,000 something, okay? Let's take a look at these fuzzy buses and find out what they're for and how they work, because they are pretty neat and they do have one really awesome application. I have a fuzzy export bus here, and in it I have told it to export and match it at 99% of a metals drone and a golden sword. And inside of here I have a metals drone and a golden sword. So let's take this out and let's see what else is inside my system. Well, I have a damaged golden sword and I have a forest drone. And if I put this golden sword inside of here, it's going to immediately get sucked out and go into this chest up here, okay? So it knows that golden swords with no damage need to be exported. But how do I make it export a golden sword that has damage on it? Well, all you need to do is you just need to make it less picky. Take a look real quick, just so you know what I'm talking about, where the damage indicator is. It's a little over 75%. So when I go up to my bus and change it to split at 75%, it's still not going to go into here because it hasn't gotten picky enough. But if I go to 50%, boop, just like that, in pops the damaged golden sword there, okay? And if I did match any, it would most definitely put that golden sword in there. Now, I have a bee in here, and nobody wants to set export buses to export all the different kinds of bees into an inventory because it's impossible. So with the use of the fuzzy export bus, you can tell this thing to, and 25% won't do it. You have to do match any, so it's the least picky option. If you do match any, it will basically put any drone inside of your inventory. And if you set up an Emme storage bus that way on an indexer, that's how you can keep all your bees together. Okay, so that's how the fuzziness of the fuzzy buses work. Let me go ahead and grab this Emme bus memory card, and this is fairly easy to craft. It requires a processor, some gold and redstone and iron, much like most of this stuff here. And what you can do here is, if I take a look inside of this, it's you can see the settings there. If I go up top here, take this in my hand, and I shift, you see I'm sneaking, shift right click, it's going to say settings saved to memory card. And then I can go down here and I can just right click, no shift click, and it says settings loaded from memory card. And you can see that those same settings that I used up top there have now been loaded into this export bus. Okay, so you can just transfer the settings from one place to another without having to keep resetting stuff. That's useful for like mass production lines of machines. Let me go ahead and grab a wireless card that's not doesn't have any energy in it. This is basically the same. This has priority as well, so you can set the priority to the drives as to where you want most of your items to flow, or most of your items to flow to first. So that's a pretty neat little tool. With the wireless there, these things now have energy, and you'll need to charge it up to make use of it. So if I go ahead and run this through my controller here, give it access, put it inside here, my IDSU with 1 billion power, okay, and that will charge it up, so now I can have access to my system. So that's just a little bit different, and you'll need charge on that. Okay, let me take myself out of full screen here because this doesn't work for some reason, while we take a look at the Emme crafting terminal. And there's been some really neat changes, mainly this box right here. It will give me 4 different options: NEI synchronized standard, auto search, standard search, and NEI synchronized auto. And I'm just going to talk about auto and standard NEI synchronization. Basically, what the difference is we're on auto right now. And if I go up here and type in furnace, you see that it both filtered out anything that didn't have FUR in my inventory out, and it also matched my NEI over here too. So I can now take a look at recipes without having to worry about backing out of my system and going over here and pressing R and figuring out the recipes. You can now search right in here. If I go ahead and type something down here, let's say meat, you see that up here it still says FUR, down here it says meat, and my NEI will show what I have typed down here. That's auto. Now if I go to standard, what's going to happen is whatever I type in here is going to match what is on the bottom. So if I type in furnace, you see that it typed it in here, and I typed it in here. And likewise, if I type in slime down here, or actually if I type in slime down here, it's not going to do anything, okay? But that's the difference. If you type in something up here, it's going to match it to whatever's hello on the bottom, okay? So that's a really neat feature of the crafting terminals. Another really neat and really useful feature of the Emme controller is this little handy dandy button over here. It's going to tell you how much power the system is consuming in basically any energy unit that you could possibly want. So we have AE, that's the default, it's using 74 units a tick. And if you don't want to break it down into MJ or EU or universal electricity, you just click this button. You can see how much MJ it's taking, 14.8, how much industrial craft EU it's taking, how much joules per tick, and how much joules is universal electricity. That's what that is. But there you go. It'll tell you that it's online and all kinds of lovely stuff. So that's a really cool addition, even though it's pretty simple. The partition editor, which can you can pre-format cards with this thing, also has a fuzzy comparison here too. So you can store all your bees on, let's say, a 64K drive or something of some such thing. You can change this to fuzzy or precision, just like this. Okay. The pattern encoder. Oh, this is maybe better than the wireless ME that I'll talk about in a second. But basically what you can do is you can open up your ME pattern encoder and you can pull out, say, a really horrible GregTech computer that takes forever to craft. And you want to make this. Well, hover over it, press R, and then go to this little question mark down here, hold Shift, and left click. Boing! You do not even need the materials, and you can make a pattern card, okay? Really awesome. You can do that with anything. A GregTech sensor kit, press R. Oh, no, you have to make that in an assembly table, so not with anything. Yeah, really cool things. Crafting table, shift, left click, bam, got a crafting table, okay? So that is a really awesome new feature. Hopefully that stays in this version. Let me show you what else you can do here with the fuzzy export buses. See these patterns that I just encoded? Instead of walking over to your molecular assembly chamber, you can just simply dump them into your system and they'll disappear. And that's only if you have a fuzzy export bus set to your Mac, exporting anything, it will take it. It doesn't matter because they're always so close. It will take them all and throw them right into there. So just match any or 99%. I don't think it matters. It'll throw all of your patterns right into there, so you don't have to walk around or make any jury-rigged buildcraft wagginess. Alrighty then, let's keep moving along as quickly as possible here. We're going to talk about interfaces next, and this is a really neat addition to the mod. Very useful for sub-networks, and that is I am able to, and I'm going to grab one. I am able to put one of these down, and if I take a wrench to it, you can use AE's quartz wrench or one of these babies, okay? And you can click, you see there's an arrow moving all over the place, okay? And basically what this does is it will tell items to pass in the direction that the arrow is facing. So items can only pass through this interface and go over here. What this also does is this arrow will separate itself from another network. So I have a controller here attached to an interface, and then there's another interface here. But if I click on my controller, there's only one interface in my system, and that's because of this little arrow, there is a wall, an invisible wall between this network and this network. And whatever I set to pass through here will pass through the interface and into the other network, which has 1, 2, 3 interfaces on it. 3. There we go. So that's a really neat feature. You also have these two settings, which are fairly explanatory. You can check those out on your own. So that's the new interfaces. That brings up a whole new way of compacting your setups here. And what you can do is you can take an interface, or what happened before, actually, I should say, was if you had a setup like this where you had an electric furnace on top and the bottom of an interface, and you had a pattern inside here of, let's say, to make refined iron, or let's say this was a compressor instead. It wouldn't care. It would just ram the contents of the pattern requirements into either machine because it was on top of one or the other, and it would create a problem. I actually ran into that myself, and I would have loved to have known about this earlier, but that will only bring products down and into this furnace, and this interface will only send products down into this furnace right here. So very cool new interface technology. One thing I failed to notice that was, or we failed to mention in other episodes, was that this colored cable will color your monitors. It will only color your monitors though if you place the block on the wire that they're next to. Okay. Very good. Colors, export bus. Alrighty then, let's move on. Got some new things over here. Certus quartz blocks, Certus quartz glass, vibrant quartz glass, and that has a little bit of a graphic going for it. These can be used as decorational, and they're also used in recipes. So they have more than one use. We'll use them for some of the stuff down farther. Okay. Emme transition planes are pretty cool. They're awesome for mob farms and various other things where you're afraid that there's going to be stuff all over the floor. If you're using Buildcraft, they might be useful. Emme transition planes basically act as Red Power 2 transposers, okay, and basically they'll suck anything that comes in contact with them directly into the system. You can see that that number is rising there on my storage monitor, okay, and they're going right in there. And these just need to be attached to your network for them to work properly. They will not suck you into the network. The ME power relay will allow you to share power between two networks and do some other things too. You can see here that I have this relay and I have just some energy conduit going into it, and it's giving power to this controller and this controller here. It will also allow you to charge things such as the matter cannon, which is something new. You can also charge your vibration or entropy or vibration catalyst and entropy accelerator in here, which we're already gone over. And if you go ahead and put that in here, you'll see that the energy is building up, and it will use the energy that's passing through this pipe and share it and charge this thing up. I don't know why it's showing that. Okay, so that is the matter cannon. We have no ammo for it, so we're going to need to make some ammo. That can be made in the ME condenser. Okay, and what you can do is in the ME condenser, and this is going to be the launch pad to wireless ME, but you're going to take the ME condenser and you can put for matter balls, you can put in smaller tiers of storage cells. There's segment cells, clusters, and blocks, I believe, and that's what goes in this block right here. Once it's in there, don't take it out. And you can take full storage cells, whether they be 1K, 4K, 16, or 64, and you can empty them out completely and destroy everything inside of them and dump them into this storage cluster, will in turn cause the accumulated energy to rise. So, because I have it set to destroy items, it says 524,000, but let's say I want to make a matter ball. I can change to that. You can see that it takes 256 items to create a matter ball, and if I go ahead and put some dirt in here, it's going to add it to that accumulated energy, and this bar is going to slowly raise, and once I reach 256, it's going to create one matter ball. Now this block right here is basically just a dumpster for all of your stuff, and you can enable shift click or disable shift click. It's always a good idea to disable because it won't let you just shift click something accidentally, like your matter cannon, and throw it in there. So be careful when you have that clicked. You can see the bar is raising up a little bit there. And that's how you get your matter balls. Now, once you have the matter balls, you can go inside an ME chest, or you can do this inside a drive or something. This is just an easier way to show it. Here's my matter balls. Here's my matter cannon. And this matter cannon basically, see it says 512 bytes. It basically acts the same way as like a 1K storage cell, except it holds less. Okay, and you can put it right where you can put the storage cells. See, it goes right up there. And to load it, just move the matter balls into here, and it will say 12 of 512 bytes used. And it will say I have 31 matter balls. You can take it out, and then you can go ahead and shoot your gun. And it's hard to see. Let me change it. There we go. I'm shooting. I blast that off there. Okay, that is the matter cannon. Pretty cool. Not really useful. Again, it just needs to be charged up to use. We'll put that back in there. And put that one in there. There's my ammo. Okay, so that's what that's for. Ran out of power. Don't know what I was doing. Maybe something blew up. Who knows? In any case, let's move on. I'm moving right along. The ME condenser can also make singularities, and that is what we really want, and that's going to get into, again, the wireless ME. And you're going to have a storage cluster in here because it's the only thing big enough to create a singularity. And you're going to need 256,000 items. And it doesn't matter if you're throwing in an interface binder into the garbage can or if you're throwing in a piece of dirt or a quantum link chamber. Every item counts as one, okay? So dump your dirt, cobblestone, anything that you have large quantities of that you're not going to use into the condenser to make your singularities. And once you have 256,000 items dumped into here, it's going to pop out a singularity right here, okay? Now, hold on to your singularity for just 1 minute. We're going to go into the quantum field ring. Now, should have had that broken from the start. Let's go ahead and grab a quantum field ring. All right, this is going to require 8 quantum field rings, and they're made by crafting iron with a basic processor, with an advanced processor, an energy cell, and an Emme cable. That's going to give you one of these, and you're going to need 8 of them, and you're going to have to arrange them in a pattern like this. And you're also going to need a quantum link chamber, and those are crafted by using those Fluix pearls that we saw in the beginning and the quartz glass that we saw right over there. Okay. Once we have this set up, it's going to create the multi-block, and I'm going to add the last piece on right here so you can see that happening. There we go. And we have a couple more things to do. The first one is we need to supply this thing with power. Now you see I have a wire going into this one, and it's all lit up nice. This one is not lit up, and it has a space for something in the middle here, okay? And we're going to need to put something in there. These rings use about 100 EU per tick or 40 MJ per tick, and you're going to have 2 of them. So really, you're going to have 16 of these, the quantum, whatever these things are, field rings, and the link chambers, because you're going to have one on the receiving end of the network and one on the sending end of the network. So it's going to require about 200 EU per tick to sustain your wireless network. Once you have yourself all powered up, you are going to need 2 more things. You're going to have to wire it into your network, first of all, and then you're going to need to make these quantum entangled singularities. And you can't just pull these things out of creative mode. You are going to have to make one, and you can make one by using TNT that they have added in by combining some Certus quartz or nether quartz with gunpowder, and also taking that ender pearl dust that we saw in the beginning. And you're going to have to make sure that it is the right, sorry, I can't spell and talk at the same time. You're going to have to make sure it's the right item code there. That's why I listed that. I'm also going to change, don't have magma mode on. All right, so you take your ender pearl dust, you throw it in there. You take your singularity, you throw it in there. You grab a lever that I don't have, and you cause a little explosion. And these don't do much damage. There we go. And with the explosion, it's going to combine the two, and it's going to give you 2 quantum entangled singularities. And that is what you put right inside of here. Okay, and that if this had power, it would work fine. And then you're going to take another one and put it on the receiving end of your network. So let's take a look quickly at the network that I have set up here. Okay, you can see all the stuff that's in there. Greg tag, la 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 la. If I go up to my little island in the sky up here, there's a Railcraft tutorial. Okay, I have the other quantum entangled singularity attached to that there. And I have a problem. I don't have power, okay? And these will take MJ or glass fiber, EU, okay? Plug it in, power, bam, wireless network. So that network way down there is now linked to this network with no pipes. And as long as you're okay with sucking up that much EU per tick, it might be worth the nice clean look of no pipes floating up to your island in the sky. That is basically all the changes that I can think of in this version of AE. I trust I covered it to the full extent that it deserved. Again, if you're at this point, you probably already know most of the things you need to know about this mod. Those are just some really cool changes to the mod. And if you have any questions, you can always post it in the comments below or post it on any of our social media outlets listed here. And as always, guys, make sure you stay poised.